Hi, today we're in Abereiddi and we're planning to walk over the cliffs to the Blue Lagoon and then to Porthgain where there's some nice ruins. You can see there's a few cottages here. This used to be quite an industrial area, but now there's nothing really. So we're just going to have a look up here, and I think there's some kilns. There's some old cottages here. There's the back of them. You can't really get up to there very easily. There's a bit of a step. I don't know if it's worth going up to them or not, probably not. So they're just walls. And then there's a bit of a kiln up here. So Porthgain was where they had a massive brickworks. And now it's just ruinous. See the back of the cottages. I assume they would have been a terrace of workers' cottage. It's quite tide's quite low at the moment. Here's yet another old kiln. The lady's just told us there's lots of seals round further on, which is what I wanted to see. Still some young ones around at the moment. This one's lost its roof. Unfortunately, it's just full of rubbish, which is pretty horrible. See a view over the bay. You can see how few houses there are here now. Here's a few more cottages. There is a tower above the Blue Lagoon, which we didn't get to when we were here some years ago. It was long before we were doing YouTube. So you can't swim in the Blue Lagoon today, not that I would, but it's where they hold diving competitions off the top. They must be absolutely nuts because it's really high. But at the moment it's seal breeding season, so they're not allowed to do that. The Blue Lagoon was like a part of the industrial area, and it's a little harbour, and the water is the most amazing colour. Unfortunately, we haven't got the best of weather. It's quite overcast. At least it's dry, but it means that the water may not show up the nice colour that it normally does. Here we are. It tells you about the slate quarries. On the cliff top is a tramway. Don't enter the ruined buildings because you will cause damage. There's something right on the top of that stack rock there. I don't like going too near the edge because I have vertigo. That cliff right ahead of me is where crazy people jump off the top in a big competition that they have every year. And you can see why it's called the Blue Lagoon now. Even though the skies aren't blue, the colour is still amazing. Kind of a little archway there. And you can see a tower and another old building on top of the entrance to the lagoon. Here we are, it tells you about the seals. You can see there's a seal there. They've padlocked the gates, so you have to go over the top so you don't disturb them because of the breeding season, but you can see the seal just having a bit of fun right by the wall. There's probably some further round on one of the other little coves. Colin just spotted another one down here. Let me zoom in and you'll see it. There we are. It's down here somewhere. Yeah, you can see it now. So we'll just put its head behind the rocks. Oh, here it comes. Oh, it's coming out. There we are. There's a tower there on the edge of the cliff. I don't know how you get to there. We failed before, but I've seen photographs taken by someone else that was really close by it. And there's kind of an island there. We're near in Porthgain and there's some really good ruins there, and I've forgotten what they are. I've been here such a long time ago. And there's some writing there which I can't read. Somebody's made it with rocks. Oh, I know what it says. The Sloop Inn. Somebody's made a cheeky advert for the pub in Porthgain. It's quite a famous pub. I've never been in there. We've been in the Shed, which is the other cafe, but never in the Sloop. This is like a massive quarry. We're going to head over to those buildings now. To all these red buildings. Unfortunately the wind's getting up a little bit. It's quite foggy today. A bit of sea mist. Over on the other point you can see a lighthouse. I think it's Strumble Head. I'll see if I can catch it on the camera if I turn around briefly. I'll probably stop when I've done that. Right, over on point now, there you go. You see the light on the lighthouse. I've forgotten what these were because it's many years since I've been here. Unfortunately it's not so nice and bright today. They looked fantastic when I took some pictures against the blue sky with a contrast. I assume these must have been made with the bricks that were made at Porthgain. can see the wear and tear on the bricks from the salt erosion and the wind. There's a lot of brick dust. There's something over there, and then there's this whole complex here, which does look quite cool. I like the colour. Used to be a door there. That looks like there would have been some machinery bolted there. And there's some steps. It's definitely a base for something, but what I don't know. We'll be coming up to the top of the brickworks, but I don't know what you can see from the top. I think you have to go down to the harbour to look at them. There's Colin. You see there would have been a roof there. They're pretty cool buildings. And that's a separate room. There's a big quarry, so there's probably something to do with the quarry. He makes some good pictures. Right at the edge here, you can see there's just a massive quarry. I assume that's where they were taking slate out. I'm not going to go down there. Let's walk down this path to the end, I think. See what's down there. It's a bit further walk than I remembered. Luckily I had a rather large baguette and a flask of tea supplies. I hope this isn't a big drop at the end. This must have been where they took whatever it was down, because this has been cut out of the rocks. So they must have taken the slate or whatever down here. I don't see any more seals. Here's another beach between Porthgain and Abereiddi, but it was closed again because of seal pupping season. It looks quite cool. There's a path out here, it doesn't just drop off, thankfully. Oh, there's like a big flat bit. That's quite good. I'm not looking so forward to the walk back. I've done so much walking and I have got a dodgy knee, despite bathing it in St Non's holy well. I think this is where we saw seals before. I'm sure this is where we saw seals, because I got some photos, but it looks a bit splashy down there. You've got to watch your footing all the time. At least there's not wind. Wow, all this has been hacked out of the rock. You can see the other side of the quarry. I'll have a quick look just to make sure there's not anything down there. No seals today. Looks like it could be a cave at the end there. And this is definitely where I saw them years ago. Right, I should go back up. That's where we've just come from. And we're coming around towards the harbour. It looks like there's a massive cave down there and the water's going right in. Up here there's a wall and somewhere takes you out the top of the brickworks. We're going to walk down to the harbour. You could see all round here. And there would have been tracks. You can still see a bit of the wood, but you can see the dark and light stripes in the grass, so there would have been tracks for some kind of wagons or a tramway. Can't see how far in that cave goes. I really don't like getting near the edge. I'm going to walk up to the end here and see what we can see. You can see 2 seals. I'm feeling a bit giddy because I'm on the edge of the cliff. There's one, there's his friend. Their little faces. You can see there one of the white markers to the harbour entrance. Seems to be more structures around here. I think these are the top of the chutes that the bricks went down. And there's this other building here. This is quite cool. Again, I don't know what it was, maybe a winding house. Can't really see. There seems to be a big hole down here, another quarry, perhaps. Yeah, very deep quarry. I don't think we'd be going down there. There's the back of this cool building. You can see through the window to the marker. We totally didn't do this bit before. We went straight down to the harbour. Somehow we managed to miss all this section. But it was a long time ago. I assume this goes down to the top of those walls. So we come round in a circle and now we're coming towards the harbour. You can see that's the Brickworks. We couldn't get to them from the top, probably not able to anyway. I imagine it's sealed off, so there would have been kind of lots of chutes there coming down to the harbour where I suppose the bricks and stuff would have come down to load onto the boats. The building ahead of me is called the Shed. That's a cafe and a chip shop if I remember now. We went in there and had a cup of tea. Looks pretty impressive from the bottom. Shame there's so many cars. Kind of spoils the view. It's a little gallery. Looks quite pretty. We came a long time ago. We came in from the opposite end of the harbour. We must have come down some steps from the cliffs. looks quite nice, it's quite impressive. I'll take a picture. So you can see all the different sections of these buildings were coming out towards the harbour. So this was a massive giant brickworks. There's a notice board somewhere over there. I'll make sure I take a still shot of it so that anyone who wants to can read. There's the most delicious smell of chips coming from the chip shop. If I didn't have half of my baguette left, I'd be very, very tempted to have chips. Colin's miming eating chips.
Yeah, I'm gonna get some.
He's going to get some, he says. There's another kiln, and those people are going over by it. There's absolutely everywhere there are kilns. And there's the lovely picturesque little harbour. You can get another picture of it from above. By that little white heart of the steps we came down on before. And the tide's coming in. You can see, it's amazing. When I was here before, the light was just terrible. It's not that brilliant today either. I assume that sign will show what some of these things did. It's a shame you can't get in up the top. It's a massive, very cool looking structure, especially those bits up the top there. There's like lots of little holes, maybe there must have been pulleys and things and all sorts winding the stuff up and down. So here's a thing that shows you exactly what was here. So here, which I'm just going to point to, is where we just had our chips. And that big building to the right with the red chimneys now gone. And each of these things was a hopper. And there was steam powered rock crushers at the top. And each one did different size of crushed rock. And each size went into a different one of those containers and then came out of the bottom where it was loaded onto ships. And the crushed rock apparently was shipped all over Britain to use to make roads. And this little thing tells you what was what in what time. So first it was used for slate, and then they used the waste from the slate to make bricks until 1912. Well, there's a Hoffman kiln. We visited a Hoffman kiln before. That was that circular one. Which number was the Hoffman kiln? Number 4. Which is okay. The Hoffman kiln was here somewhere. Very different to the one we saw. I don't know what that one was. The big number 5, the one with the wheel. Oh, it was a tramway. Yeah, so that's what it looks like. I'm going to walk back along the bottom and show you as we go. So here's the big tunnel, which is now being used for storing fishing stuff. And you can see one of the chutes there, and the hoppers. There's water coming out there. Shame that other massive building's gone. And you can see out on the quay wall was a crane on some kind of rails. These are pretty cool. I like that. I'll come back and take a picture of that, I think. The rest of them are all sealed. Oh, I see there's loose bricks, that's why they've done that. Bricks are coming down, they've done it to seal it off. And they're pretty much all the same all the way along. These are a different kind of thing here. And the bottom ones are used for, I don't know, it's like boat stuff and fuel. And you've got a window at the top. These are kind of different. load of horrible lobster pots. That's quite good, look. There's an engine house at the top. Can't even see you want to trip or come down here when you've been drinking and fall in. Yeah, they're all used for fishing stuff. Only that one thing you can see through. There's quite nice. Right, we're going to go up the steps to the top. It really is quite cold. And the chips were very welcome. The cave over there. Said this White House was the pilot's house, and he was really important because it was him who was responsible for guiding the ships into the harbour. That bit of kit there. Welcome back. That's where we sat and had our lunch. And now I've got the slog back to Abereiddi. Maybe we'll see some more seals. Oh, this is open. This wasn't open before. So this is the pilot's house where he would have guided the ships in. It's gone upstairs. This was definitely shut before. It's looking it's coming apart a bit. It needs a bit of work. And it's got a little fireplace. It's still very sooty. That's quite nice. I'm glad we got to see in this. And he would have looked out onto the harbour. Right, back up the top. Got a great view. See the harbour and all the tops of the hoppers there. Well, I hope you've enjoyed our walk from Abereiddi to Porthgain. And there's a boat coming into the harbour now, so I'll leave you with that.